Now to a nationwide shortage of a crucial drug for people with asthma. The lack of albuterol has been an ongoing issue since last fall, and experts fearing now it's only getting worse, affecting more than 25 million Americans. So what are patients now with asthma doing to cope without it? Our ABC affiliate in Minneapolis explains.
All of a sudden my chest starts hurting and I just physically cannot take a breath.
Samantha Froston, who works for Hubbard Broadcasting, is one of 21 million adults across the U.S. who have asthma, the health condition taking your breath away at any moment.
When it gets to that point, I need that medication. I take my inhaler immediately.
Inside her inhaler is albuterol, a common medicine used to treat patients with asthma. But a recent hit to the pharmaceutical chain could make it harder for Froston to get the medicine.
Honestly makes me terrified.
Albuterol has been on the FDA's shortage list for months, and that supply is expected to get even shorter. One of the last major manufacturers, Akron Pharmaceuticals, just pulled the plug on operations at the end of February as part of Chapter 7 bankruptcy proceedings.
The albuterol neb solution has been in shortage for some time. It's hard to get into stock.
But Jim Stage, the owner of Lloyd's Pharmacy in St. Paul, is making it work.
We're checking secondary and tertiary vendors if our primary vendor doesn't have it. So it's just creating a little bit more legwork on our part.
Stage says the shelves are stocked with albuterol, so there's enough to go around for now, and he's prepared to look at other brands if it goes out of stock. Hospitals in the Twin Cities are also bracing for the shortage to get worse. Allina Health is using alternatives, including albuterol mixed half and half with another drug, using it sparingly, or using a different medicine when it's appropriate, according to their spokesperson. But Froston says she's prepared to hunt for albuterol if she has to.
I'd be calling my doctor here, asking for any connections that they have. I would do anything I could to get this medication.
All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, as always, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, Wahar Chak with Yahweh, that's the Heavenly Father's true name, Yahweh Shai, that's whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, that's his true name, and Rachak Wadash, that is the Holy Spirit. And I also want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach on the scriptures. And salutations to all the brothers out there who are pushing his word in all truth and in all sincerity. And you saw that video clip concerning the shortage of a ingredient, all right, to these inhalers for, you know, those who have asthma. All right, it was a buterol. Okay, that was the ingredient. And, you know, this right here is showing you how biblical prophecy is being fulfilled, okay? And I'll start off here in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter and the 22nd verse, and it reads here, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty." And you see what's happening is you're starting to see more and more how the storehouses, okay, which that's just your, you know, local grocery stores, all right, you know, pharmacies, okay, etc., how they're, you know, becoming more and more empty, all right, with the supplies that you need, you see? And, you know, we've talked about this many of times about, you know, how there's going to, you know, how there's a famine happening right before our eyes, okay? We've been saying this for years, but there's not, I'll say this, there's not going to only be a famine of food and water. There's also going to be a lack of supplies, okay, in other fields. You're going to have a shortage of, you know, gasoline. You're going to have a shortage of, you know, electrical supplies, a shortage of medical supplies, okay, you see? And hey, people are going to go, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, for lack of words, they're going to go crazy, you know, for these everyday products that keep this society running and that really keep people alive, okay? And that's going to lead to mass chaos and anarchy in the streets of America. And not just here in America, but actually worldwide, because it's going to affect everybody. Because remember, this is a global economy. Everything's intertwined and interconnected. All right? And see, when people lose the basic necessities, and the key ones are your food, water, and medical supplies, people are about to do desperate things because of desperate times. Okay? They're not going to be civil anymore. Civil unrest will come due to these things happening. All right? And see, right now, we're just seeing the beginning stages. Like that store owner said, you know, we have to go to a second vendor in order to have supplies in stock. And then they even said that what they're doing is they're in the hospitals, they're either cutting the usage of it, they're being more mindful of, you know, these inhalers, right? Or they're trying to chop it up, basically dilute it, you know, dilute you know, that those inhalers with, you know, different ingredients, try to mix it up. Okay? But see, what eventually is going to happen is you're going to see a lack of supplies, which is going to cause what? An increase of that product. It's basic supply and demand, economics 101. But eventually what's going to happen is people aren't going to be able to afford these things. And with that being said, they're going to commit robberies, okay? They're going to, break and enter into these, buildings and steal the supplies, okay? That's what's coming. You see? It's going to be a real dog-eat-dog society. You got it and I need it, I'm coming for you. You see? Now let me keep reading this in 2nd Ezra. This is 2nd Ezra 6:23 now. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. And the reason why that's going to happen is because there's going to be a lack of bread and for great tribulation, as it says in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, which we'll get in a moment after this. All right? And it says here, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. And that's going into the water supplies. All right? But let's get this in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. And I'll start at verse 14. This is 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world, which means destruction. Okay, that's what the word woe means. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the swords and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So you're going to see all types of fighting, okay, in the streets. Okay, all type of riots. You're going to see race riots, class riots, food riots, okay, supply riots. Everyone's going to be fighting just to get those natural resources. And I'll say this, or a little, they show you a little visual of that, okay? In the TV series that's on Netflix, it's called Black Summer. It's a very good show. I highly recommend brothers watch that. It's basically about a zombie apocalypse, right? And in particular, though, in season 2, you have all these groups fighting for a care package that's going to get, dropped in their area. And you see how desperate people get and how people betray one another very, very quickly when the need of survival, comes into play, and there's a lack of supplies. It's a very, very real, a very, very real situation, so to speak, man. And it kind of gets you in that right mind, frame, that right mindset All right, when you watch a TV series like that. All right. But let's keep reading. This is 2 Ezra 15 and 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to eventually have people rebelling against the government because there's going to be so much chaos going on, and they're not going to care what the officials say. And see, what the officials are going to do as well is when all hell's breaking loose out in the streets, they're going to start enforcing martial law. And then there's going to be a pushback, okay, from the people, okay? You're going to see it. People are really going to and literally fight against the government. All right? It's going to play out. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And this is why this is all coming to this world, because of the pride of man. And when you have pride, that means you believe that you're better than the Most High, and that your ways are more superior than the Most High's ways. And that's not factual. Okay? In fact, it's very foolish, and it all leads to corruption and death. If you don't follow the ways of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, it leads to a death style. Okay? Now let's keep reading. Verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. And this is why you're going to have people invading one another, people killing one another, okay? Because there's going to be a lack of bread, lack of supplies, lack of water, all right? And you heard that one young lady, she said it. I'll do basically anything for that. So imagine she's just a young woman, small, fragile. So imagine when, men get involved. Men who also have weaponry. You see? It's going to get serious. And they even show you that in The Walking Dead. I think it's season 10 or 11. I believe it's 10. When you had the character Negan, when they were showing his backstory, and they showed how his wife had cancer, and it all basically started when the outbreak happened, and pretty much he was trying to find the right medical supplies, all right, to keep his wife alive, to kill that cancer. Then you ended up having him having to deal with basically some Hell's Angels, all right, type of characters, man, some bikers. And they did some ruthless stuff to him and ended up actually killing his wife. You see? All that because of medical supplies. All right? But, that's pretty much it. I just want to get straight to the point. I show you brothers and sisters, hey, what's going on in this world. And I'll say this, hey, even though all these great, perils are, coming, and great tribulation is coming, hey, don't be afraid. Trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. He's going to protect us, and he's going to save us, hey, from these, horrible, horrific, days that are coming. Hey, the elect will be saved. All right, and with that, I'm going to end off this lesson. Hopefully it was edifying. And with that, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to all you brothers out there. Shalom.